Before we get into the induction ceremonies, we will first hear from Diana Doggett. She's the president of the Ag and HES Alumni Association. Diana.
Thank you, Jeff. On behalf of the Ag and HES Alumni Association, I want to welcome you to a very special award program this evening. The Hall of Distinguished Alumni Award was introduced as a way of recognizing and honoring exceptional contributions made by graduates. It is the College of Agriculture, Food, and Environment's highest honor, reserved for an elite group of alumni whose professional successes and services to the university and the community go far beyond expectations. You could just say that tonight's distinguished honorees and guests are an accomplished bunch. HODA is an event to celebrate individual excellence and proud legacy. This year's 13 award recipients demonstrate the diversity of careers that our graduates can pursue. They have all achieved great professional success in addition to committed community service. Thomas Edison once said, "If we did the things we are capable of, we would astound ourselves." Tonight, prepare to be astonished as we celebrate the diverse contributions our distinguished honorees have made globally, nationally, and in their local communities. As colleagues, friends, family, and alumni, we thank you for your mutual loyalty and your interest and your support as partners in this 2014 Hall of Distinguished Alumni event. I want to recognize past presidents of the Ag and HES Alumni Association joining us this evening that exemplifies that the Alumni Associations has a strong support of this award ceremony. Jewel Dean Ellis, you know, wave your hand when I say your name. Jim Mahan, Michelle McDonald, Bill McCloskey, Frida Moody, Bill Smith, and Leslie Stith. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the meeting.
Joining me on stage now and also to help hand out the awards will be the Dean and Director of the UK College of Agriculture, Food and Environment, Dr. Nancy Cox. Nancy.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks also to the Ag and HES Alumni Organization for making this second Hall of Distinguished Alumni event possible. There's a few people I would like to introduce or welcome. David Schweitzer, last year's inductee, the first class. Some of the team at UK College of Agriculture, and I think we have a lot of faculty here, but I wanted to recognize Associate Dean Larry Grabo. I can't see very well, but he's out there. Then I saw Bob Harmon, Department Chair of Animal and Food Science, Sue Noakes, Biosystems and Ag Engineering, Red Baker, yep, there he is, I see his hand. Also, Dean Emeritus Orrin Little and Myrtle, thanks for being here. Mike Ritchie, the VP for Development at UK, and the unofficial historian of all things agriculture in Kentucky. And anybody who knows Mike knows about his great memory. We also are honored to welcome Judge Julia Tackett tonight. And certainly welcome to all the families who are here. We have many families who are here to honor their loved ones, whether they have passed on or whether they're here with us tonight. And it's really quite a humbling experience for me, as I've been dean for a month and a half, roughly, to be standing before you to honor these folks. I think the word distinguished is really an understatement. And this event tells us that somehow this College of Ag, or the College of Agriculture, Food and Environment, added value to some young people's lives. And these young people, who are now a little bit older now, who are getting the awards tonight, but their families entrusted them to UK, College of Agriculture, for their education. And we are still trying to do that. We are still trying to have families entrust their students to us, and we're still trying to add value. And hopefully we are still doing as good a job today as we were doing when the College of Agriculture educated those who are being honored tonight. We are just extremely happy to have everyone here. And hopefully in this audience, we've got some future Hall of Distinguished Alumni here of all ages. And we hope we can do as good a service to you as historically we've done for the people being honored here tonight. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Nancy. We will begin the evening by introducing the posthumous inductees into the Hall of Distinguished Alumni, and joining me to read those names is Michelle McDonald. She's the past president of the Ag and HES Alumni Association. Michelle?
Thank you, Jeff. Our first posthumous inductee, Charles D. Bennett, was born in Bremen and went on to earn a bachelor and master's degree at the College of Agriculture. He had many vocations through his life, working first teaching classes to veterans and renting a farm where he started milking cows in Davis County. He and his wife, Jeanette, moved to Hardinsburg in 1949, where they put down permanent roots. Bennett made a financial investment in the local Farmers Bank and ultimately found his true calling. Under his leadership, the Farmers Bank expanded from 1 to 3 locations, and in 1985, the Bennett family also purchased controlling interest in the Litchfield Deposit Bank. He was a firm believer in community banks. Bennett was involved in forming the Breckinridge County Development Corporation and was an active member of the Hardinsburg United Methodist Church, Gideon's International, Hardinsburg Rotary Club, and the UK Alumni Association. Mr. Bennett's daughter, Annette Martin, will accept on his behalf.
Our next inductee is Rosemary Kodell Brooks. She invested her time, energy, and material resources in efforts aimed at helping others through volunteerism. A native of Winchester, she earned bachelor degrees in biological sciences and home economics from the College of William and Mary and a master's degree in home economics education from the University of Kentucky in 1938. She helped found the Winchester-Clark County Public Library and nurtured the library for many years as a volunteer and as a member of the Board of Trustees. She served on more than 40 boards, organizations, and committees. She has received numerous awards and recognition. Her interests were diverse and encompassed her profession of home economics, women's issues, history, and the arts. She championed equal rights for women and was the first female on various boards and commissions. Rosemary Kodell Brooks.
Jim Corbin, a Providence, Kentucky native, is the father of the modern-day pet food industry. He formulated and extruded the world's first expanded foods for dogs and cats, catfish, trout, and monkeys while working at Ralston Purina. Today, more than 95% of the nutritional offerings made to America's cats and dogs is in the dry form, the technology developed and championed by Corbin. He earned his bachelor's and master's degree in animal science from the University of Kentucky College of Agriculture and his doctorate from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. One of their projects was monkey food, which aided in the nutritional health of monkeys used by Jonas Salk in the development of the polio vaccine and sped up the creation of the vaccine. He later joined the Department of Animal Science at the University of Illinois as a professor and established a teaching and research program in companion animal biology. Corbin received numerous honors for his work in the laboratory and the classroom. Jim Corbin.
Our next posthumous inductee, H. David Hilliard, was born on a farm in Clinton and graduated from the College of Agriculture in 1938. Hilliard taught vocational agriculture for 5 years while completing graduate work. After his teaching stint, he returned to Hickman County and to the farm. Throughout his life, Hilliard stressed the importance of the education and assistance he received from UK's College of Agriculture, Agricultural Experiment Station, and Cooperative Extension. Hilliard certainly has paid the debt off and more through his work and dedication to the College of Agriculture. He was instrumental in ensuring that Kentucky farmers had access to quality certified seed through the Kentucky Seed Improvement Association and worked to ensure the organization had the proper foundation under it through the college. He served 3 terms as president of the association. He served on numerous agricultural and community organizations throughout his life, and representing H. David Hilliard tonight is his daughter, Judy Long.
George M. Kurtz, a 1937 graduate of the College of Agriculture, went on to become an auctioneer, businessman, and farmer in western Kentucky. After working briefly as a county agent for the UK Cooperative Extension Service, he and his wife Jane bought a farm near Sturgis where they raised registered Angus cattle and Suffolk sheep. Kurtz went to auction school and became one of the top livestock auctioneers in the United States before moving in his business into real estate auctions. Today, the company is one of the nation's leading real estate auction companies, licensed in 8 states. Among his numerous honors are membership in the Kentucky Auctioneers Hall of Fame, National Auctioneers Hall of Fame, UK Animal Science Hall of Fame, and being a UK Fellow. Kelly Gates, his daughter, accepts on his behalf.
Go small towns.
Our next inductee is one name that I recognize from growing up in eastern Kentucky and watching him on television for many years. Ira E. Massey was born in Stamping Ground and earned bachelor's and master's degrees in agronomy from the UK College of Agriculture. He went on to become a UK Extension tobacco specialist known for his expertise and outreach. In his first year as a tobacco specialist, he spent most of his time in the field, working one-on-one with farmers. Because this method did not allow for communicating to large groups, Massey decided to use mass media and soon would be seen in media markets in Louisville, Lexington, and Huntington, West Virginia. He wrote for a monthly magazine sent to tobacco growers in Kentucky, Mississippi, and Indiana, Ohio, and North Carolina, and served as a tobacco editor for 2 monthly farm magazines. He was considered the leading authority on tobacco and was quoted in many national and international publications. He retired in 1983 but continued his agricultural work using mass media to reach farmers. During his career, he won many awards and served on several prestigious committees. And representing him tonight is Diana Massey, his daughter.
William A.C. was born in Missouri, but spent most of his early years in Hickman County. He went on to receive bachelor's and master's degrees in agriculture at the University of Kentucky and earned his doctorate from the University of Wisconsin. Upon completion of his doctorate, C returned to the UK College of Ag as an assistant professor of soils. At UK, he went on to hold the positions of professor in soils, administrative assistant to the dean, and director of the Division of Agriculture, and vice director of the Kentucky Experiment Station. C twice served as acting dean and director of the Kentucky Experiment Station. He was appointed dean of the UK College of Agriculture in 1963 and served in that capacity until his death in 1969. Dean C died in an airplane when an airplane he was piloting crashed into a mountain in West Virginia. Representing the C family is Dr. C's son, Ed.
Our next inductee, Barbara Ellis Taylor, was introduced to the University of Kentucky through her 4-H involvement as a child in Boyle County. She entered UK to study in what is today's School of Human Environmental Sciences in the College of Agriculture, Food and Environment. She went on to earn her doctorate in textiles and clothing from the University of Wisconsin and joined the faculty at the University of Florida Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences and remained there until retiring in 1996. At Florida, Taylor had a distinguished career. She chaired the task force to develop a multidisciplinary major in human resource development and was then asked to serve as the first undergraduate coordinator. Taylor's interest in assisting women led her to work with faculty on gender equity issues. She served as an ambassador for the profession around the world. She was named Outstanding Alumna at both the UK School of Human Environmental Sciences and the School of Family and Resources and Consumer Sciences at the University of Wisconsin. And accepting on her behalf tonight is her husband, Dr. Clifton Taylor.
Henry Duelin White was an internationally renowned and respected third-generation horseman. He was born in Hopkinsville, but moved with his family to Lexington when he was just an infant. He graduated from the University of Kentucky College of Agriculture. White served as a breeding advisor for many notable thoroughbred owners and was farm manager of Ellsmead and Plum Lane Farms until he retired in 2002. White was a tireless ambassador for the thoroughbred industry, serving as a member of the Keeneland Club, president of the Thoroughbred Club of America, and vice president of the Grayson Jockey Club Foundation. He was a lifetime member of the Kentucky Thoroughbred Farm Managers Club, earning the distinction of Kentucky's Farm Manager of the Year in 1979. He was director emeritus of the Kentucky Thoroughbred Association, 2-term president of the Thoroughbred Breeders of Kentucky, a founder of the Kentucky Equine Education Project, and a UK Alumni Association Fellow. Accepting on behalf of the White family is Mr. Hank White, son of Henry Duelin White.
Our last posthumous inductee is Patch G Woolfolk. He was well known at the University of Kentucky College of Agriculture on the animal science faculty, and he was a member of the faculty from 1953 until his retirement in 1986. Woolfolk, a native of Brandenburg, received his bachelor's and master's degree from the UK College of Agriculture and his doctorate from Cornell University. He served his entire professional career in UK's Department of Animal Science, where he taught courses at the undergraduate and graduate levels. He was also in charge of the college's sheep program. His interest in forage evaluation, pasture management, creep feeding, carcass evaluation, and broader aspects of producing lambs continued throughout his research career. He served as judge at major sheep shows and fairs and was well known for his high level of dedication. After directing the sheep research and teaching programs for 16 years, Woolfolk accepted broader responsibilities as Associate Chair of the Department of Animal Science. In 2002, the college honored his memory by naming a laboratory the Patch G Woolfolk Laboratory at UK's state-of-the-art sheep facility located at the Seorn Little Research Farm in Woodford County. And accepting on his behalf is his wife, Miriam Woolfolk. Our first living inductee, James Jim Mahan of Lexington, has been an active, important part of Kentucky agriculture since his youth. Since receiving his degree in animal science in 1967, Mahan has devoted his life to his farm, family, youth, and agriculture. From opening his farm and sharing it for many years with the local 4-H sheep club, to providing leadership for the development of the Locust Trace Agri-Science Farm and the farm and school, he is an advocate for youth leadership and for agriculture. Mahan was a key leader in reviving agriculture's role at the Bluegrass Fair at Lexington's Masterson Station Park by providing leadership and financial support for the construction of the Ag Pavilion. He has provided leadership and service to many agricultural efforts, and as one of his nominators noted, his selfish efforts are reflected in the youth he's impacted and the programs and infrastructure he has put into place that will have positive impacts for generations to come. Jim Mahan.
Wow, thank you, thank you. What a thrill, what an honor to be included with such a distinguished group. The Ag College has been an important and big part of my life, my entire life. All the way back to my student days, even though you required me to take organic chemistry. And I certify to you tonight that I did not put those lambs up on the water tower. I got the credit, but I didn't do it. One just real quick note before I introduce and brag on my family. Many of us are old enough to remember this college as not doing much or having much. Mr. Schweitzer with the horses. And under the leadership of our new dean and others, this equine initiative has been one of the most exciting things that I've witnessed as an alum and makes me so proud. Dean, you were involved as well. But it's just exciting now to, stick your chest out and say, I'm an alum of the Ag College. You wouldn't do all the things that I've been able to do and accomplish without the support of family and home. And because of that, if you'll humor me, let me brag and introduce my family. My beautiful and multi-talented wife, Judy, will you stand? And we've been so blessed to have three great kids. All three started out in the Ag College here at UK. Started. Mark and his wife Melissa, will you stand? Or, well, he was in the back. My daughter Lynn Wright and her husband Jim, will you stand? And John and his wife Jill, thank you. And they have blessed us with 6 of the neatest grandkids you would ever want to spoil. I'd like for them to stand, and I appreciate your being here, starting from the tallest. Brian, would you stand and get them all up? Garrett, Amy, Michael, Leah, Lane. Thank you all for coming. Thank you. Dean, I assure you, you'll have to do very little recruiting in these 6. I have assured them that they can go to the college, university of their choice, as long as it's in Lexington and has an ag school. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Our next inductee is Herbert Aukerman. Herbert was born in Chaplin in 1932 and came to the University of Kentucky to play football under the legendary coach Paul Bear Bryant in 1950. Unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately to the world, an injury changed those plans. Aukerman went on to a distinguished career in animal sciences at The Ohio State University, where he continues to teach today. His alumni scattered across every continent except Antarctica includes secretaries of agriculture, university presidents, deans, department chairs, and directors of research institutes. During a visit to a Brazilian university, he discovered that they had no books in their library. That discovery led him on a philanthropic endeavor that continues today. Dr. Ockerman collects and distributes books to libraries throughout the world from his garage. To date, those donations have estimated value of more than $850 million and a total of more than 1,500 separate shipments to more than 350 global destinations. For his academic and philanthropic efforts, Aukerman has received many national and international honors, including at least one library that bears his name. Would you please welcome inductee Herbert Aukerman.
They told me I was supposed to talk 5 minutes, but they didn't know I'm programmed for 145 minutes. Always good to come back home. I appreciate all the people that supported me and also the selection committee here. I'll tell you a couple stories. One, when I was in school here, the draft was still in operation. And I decided if I was going to have to go to the military when I got my BS that I'd like to be in the Air Force. So I took Air Force ROTC, and there was a very cute secretary there, and I had to pass a hearing test. And I flunked the hearing test. She said, well, go to another doctor. Well, I went to another doctor, flunked the hearing test. She sent me to 28 doctors. Finally found a sympathetic one. And so that got me started, and she also got me started in the fact that she said, you know, you're missing a lot of the world. So I took the first agricultural study tour to Western Europe. It was in the United States, the first one that had gone. And she traveled with me frequently, so I get to travel around the world. Today I have an invitation to go to China this summer, and after that I'm going to South America for another Congress. So she had a great influence on my life. Unfortunately, about 26 years ago, she passed away, and she's buried in the Lexington Cemetery, and Section 5, so if you want to stop by, you're most welcome. She won't say anything, but she'll be looking at you. So I do want to make sure that I thank everybody, and the things came in from around the country, and I just brought one of them today, if I can find it here. One letter that's the reason I enjoy teaching and working with people from around the world. This particular letter is from a previous student in Northern Ireland. And he said, hello, Herb. It's a pleasure to start the new year earning of your induction into the University of Kentucky Hall of Fame. We're sorry that we can't be there, but the airfare is just a little too steep for me. However, I would like to make a contribution to the Ohio State University in your name. I wrote back and said, all my money goes to Kentucky. One other thing that has happened recently that shows my loyalty to Kentucky, I'm frequently asked when Ohio State plays Kentucky, who do you root for? So I thought, well, the thing to do is to check with my boss. The boss says, who signs your paycheck? I said, I can't be bought. Go Blue. So thanks again. It's great to be back home and enjoy the situation. Some of my students could not make it here because one of them is in Tibet right now, but I brought her husband along, and he's been my driver today. And maybe I ought to tell the story about how I went to their wedding. She came in one day and flashing a left hand with a big diamond on it. I said, well, what's going on here? She said, I got engaged last night. I said, well, congratulations. She said, you haven't heard the whole story. I said, what's the whole story? She said, well, we got to go to India to the wedding, and consequently, my grandfather he's a very important part of a wedding ceremony in a Hindu wedding. I said, well, that's an awful long way. I can get you married in Columbus in 20 minutes, and it only takes 2 people. She said, in India, it's not that way. It takes 2,000 people, and it takes about 2 months. I said, well, maybe I can go once. She said, you haven't heard the whole story. We have an engagement ceremony, and about a month later, we have a wedding ceremony. She said, you got to go to India twice. I said, good gosh, to get worried, I can do this quicker here. Nothing to do. I said, well, maybe I can do it. She said, you haven't heard the whole story. Said, it's hot in Delhi right now. You got to go to the Himalayas twice. It's cooler there. So I ended up in the Himalayas twice. So like I say, she's in Nepal right now and is on her way back to Columbus, I hope. And but I did bring her husband along to share with some of the joy of this particular thing. So consequently, thanks again. Come to Ohio State, and we'll be glad to show you around. Thank you.
Our last inductee of the evening is Glen Allen Stith. Stith is a native of Meade County and graduated from UK in 1978 with a degree in agricultural economics. Following graduation, he joined Monsanto and for the next 32 years held a variety of positions in the company. At his retirement, he was Vice President of Commercial Operations North America and Latin America North in Monsanto's Crop Protection Division. During his career, he was a mentor and coach, giving countless hours of advice to others even as he took on larger roles. Stith also lends his time and talents to the country's youth, especially through FFA and Alpha Gamma Rho fraternity. Through the Glen and Maggie Stith Leadership Development Fund endowment, more than 100 FFA members will be able to attend the Washington Leadership Conference each year. Stith has also invested in the future of students in the College of Agriculture, Food, and Environment, helping to establish the Lincoln Trail Ag and HES Alumni Scholarship Fund, which benefits students from the 9-county region. Today, Stith works as a consultant and lives in Ankeny, Iowa. Would you please welcome Mr. Stith?
Thank you so much. I can tell you that I'm at first humbled to receive this recognition, and the second thing I think about is how undeserving I am when you look at the folks that have been recognized before me. Many of these folks, several of these folks were role models for me when I was a younger man. Ira Massey and Garland Baston they're really folks that really resonate with me when I think about, some of the values that helped form my thinking when I was younger. I've not lived in Kentucky for over 37 years, but I think my wife from Iowa can attest that once a Kentuckian, always a Kentuckian, and I've always been bleeding blue all these years, even though I've moved 13 times and lived outside the country and traveled all over the world. I grew up on a farm in Kentucky, and I never dreamed of ever working anywhere but in agriculture. My father was really not college educated. My mother had an 8th grade education, and they wanted the three of us boys to go to college, and they wanted us to go to the University of Kentucky, and they wanted us to major in agriculture, and we did. My two brothers are here, Dale and Les. I love you both. And we were all ag college graduates, all AGRs, and all are proud to have said that we served and worked in agriculture. And I think all of us have had a propensity for community service. And I got my community service values. It reminds me of a book that has recently been written by the great Warren Buffett's son, Howard. And I think the title of the book is 40 Chances. And it's about how few chances we have to really impact the lives of others. This book is about fighting world hunger, but it really applies to all of our lives, that we must not only succeed professionally and do the best we can, but we must give back and we must help others. I learned that from two places. I learned it from my mother, who, the words I can think of my mother is humility. She always put others ahead of herself. In fact, the definition of humility is not to think less of yourself, but to think of yourself less and more of others. And that was my mother. And then another little story is my parents weren't big on sports in high school. I wanted to play sports. And I don't know if I would have been any good at sports or not, but my mom and dad said, if you want to play sports, then you got to find your own way back home from practice. Because we live 17, 18 miles from high school. But they said, if you want to be in UKAg and FFA, we'll come and get you after any of the events. And my, how wise they were, because was that a great experience. And I've been a big supporter of FFA over the years. My brother and I have sponsored an award at the convention for 25 years maybe. Been involved in the national for 10 years. My good friend Paul Mahalam here, who's here tonight, a wonderful guy. We both serve on the National FFA Foundation Sponsors Board, and now the Individual Giving Council, and I just love the camaraderie that agriculture has with it, and the people that are in agriculture that are so special, because there's not a community and an industry that's so tightly intertwined to help each other. I just want to finish up by acknowledging a few people as I think back over my UK experience. I just want to acknowledge very few people, and there's way more people that I should acknowledge, but these people came to mind. Number one, Dr. John Robertson. Mike, you know Dr. John Robertson, the Dean of Instruction there. John Robertson, he treated every student like they were somebody. I mean, you could go into his office, he'd see you in the hall, and I got such a great charge out of him knowing who I was and that I was an ag student, and how encouraging he was to me, and I know he did that to many others. Secondly, Dr. Maynard Iverson. Many of you may not know Dr. Maynard Iverson, but he was our advisor for Alpha Gamma Rho fraternity. And during those college years, you struggle and have a few growing pains, and Dr. Iverson helped me through some really, really tough time. And I happen to know Dr. Iverson today. He has a place in Arizona. My wife and I have a place in Arizona, and I've recently visited with Dr. Iverson. And so that's how wonderful these connections are. And I love economics. I consider myself an ag economist. I consider myself an economist, and Dr. David Hilliard was one of my favorite professors at the University of Kentucky. He was a serious, very, very good instructor. I also remember Dr. Garnet Bradford in ag finance, Dr. Fred Justice, real estate appraisal. These were all people that had an effect, a very positive effect on me. So in their 40 chances, they wasted at least one of their chances on me. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's a real privilege to represent the University of Kentucky, and I will forever, ever be thankful for this recognition. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. And I think we should give a round of applause for all of our inductees.